welcome everybody into another edition of the PHNX Suns podcast, brought to you by our friends at DraftKings, America's #1 sportsbook app. If you put down $1 on any football game, you can get $150 free this week when you use the code PHNX to do that. I'm your host, Greg Esposito. Ahoy, hoy. And let me tell you this. If you heard the show before the show, I think you'd be just as entertained as you are with the show. Yeah. Because we have a freestyle rapper in our midst. It's the one and only Saul Bookman. Saul, how are you?
That's why I'm growing the fro out, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
We're gonna have to ask the chat for your rap names.
Juicy today.
and as always, our resident beat writer and stat fan, it's Gerald Bourguet.
You gotta stop coming to me after he says some ridiculous shit. Can never follow.
Then you can't sit next to it because I'm just going it alive. And as always, the Emmy Award winning Lindsey Smith.
Hi.
It really is an inner contract. I don't want anybody to think it's actually her.
You have to say that to her if you ever see her in public.
You can't look in her eyes either. That's in the contract.
She's not Medusa for crying out loud.
No, there's all. Have you not heard that in these writers for artists that come into the Footprint Center, that there's all sorts of things.
So many crazy
Neil Diamond, you couldn't look him in the eyes.
Why?
There could be no meat.
Because it's Neil Diamond. Yeah. He says so.
No meat products in the building when, or at least on level 0 when Paul McCartney's there.
What?
They used to have to cover the vending machines because there was beef jerky in it. There's all sorts of weird
specific
stuff.
types of water, only certain color M&Ms. You've never heard any of
Well,
this
I've heard
before?
about those things, but I didn't realize that it was for athletes too, or celebrities, I guess.
Oh yeah. We had a guy that worked for us that had security.
So don't look at Lindsey in the eyes.
It's in her rider.
Where are you supposed to look then?
No eye contact.
At the ground.
Yeah,
so.
at the ground.
Yes.
At the ground.
I am a heathen.
Yeah, all sorts of weird things. Justin Timberlake's people almost had one of our writers arrested because they thought he was taking photos of the set when he was holding his recorder. All sorts of weird stuff happens when there's concerts in the building. How do we? Oh yeah, Saul's a rapper. That's how we got here. That's right.
I was just reciting lines from 8 Mile to the Beat.
Tip topic of the show: would you trade CP3 for Kyrie? Very weird tip topic. We will get more context.
Well, it's because of the Kyrie rumors last week. Obviously.
I was just saying we'll get to more context in it. We'll discuss it later in the show, but we want to hear your opinion on it off the top. So hit us up in the chat, or you can hit us up at PHNX_Suns on Twitter if you want to talk about that with us. But we have controversy. Are you guys aware of this? There is controversy.
I'm very aware
in
of
our
this.
midst. Saul is looking like
stop the steal.
Like he has no clue. Stop. I think it should be hashtag stop the squeal because Lindsey was the one that brought this up.
So salty.
But on Friday,
salty.
we had our Suns all-time jersey snake draft,
of which I dominated.
Yeah,
only because
domination.
There was an error.
It doesn't matter. Even if you had it, it didn't matter.
I actually was going to have. I talked to multiple news reporters that I was going to have film a minute-long news segment about this.
Hilarious.
I couldn't get anybody, so we're just going to talk about it. But Lindsey was very frustrated in the group text that there was controversy about this, that the ballot had been tampered with, that the votes were ineligible, that they were incorrect. Shane, the man behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach, our producer, can you put up the voting results from look at this, a runaway victory? I think this is total crap when you see I had 12%. This obviously is rigged.
Came in dead.
You only chose purple jerseys,
for good reason. Those are the only good ones. I think it's rigged, but just because I finished last. But Lindsey, who finished in second, claims that there was an inaccuracy, an issue in all this.
I mean, there was an inaccuracy.
Hold on.
There was.
Thank you.
Can we put
Jesus,
up?
Espo, you have talked for 5 straight minutes. Can anybody else get a damn word
you can't. Would you like? Here, go ahead, run it.
Anyway, I don't know what to say.
That's what I thought. Shane, can we put up this was the graphic that went out with all the pics of the jerseys, right?
Yes.
It seemed fairly accurate until we realized that Lindsey claims there's a jersey on her list she never took.
Excuse me, claims? There's literal proof
yeah.
on
There-
our YouTube
actually,
channel.
We'll get to that in a second too, because I was going to take the heat. I created this graphic, and we gave Lindsey the orange PHX jersey, right, from the Nash era in the column,
Awful.
and Saul had the PHX current or the black jersey from a few years ago.
Because I related it to Drake,
But
which
this-
I was
Right.
accurate
Right.
on.
But it was
Yes. But
that's
inaccurate,
not
the
the right
one that
one.
was
But
put
that's
on the
not the
graphic.
Drake one.
Yeah,
No,
that's not
mine
the
was
Drake-
accurate.
No,
Yours
but-
was inaccurate.
No,
That
that's
graphic
not-
is not the one
Yeah.
you picked.
That-
That
That's
one
not the
has a
Drake one.
gray PHX with the orange
Yes,
outline. The
that's
one
not
you want
yours.
that Jake wore is white.
Yeah.
Yes.
So-
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is an
So-
inaccurate
So
that-
my
graphic.
vision is whack.
That was the graphic in
Sir,
which
you gotta go get your eyes checked.
so that was the graphic in which people voted off of.
Sure,
Yes.
sure.
Now, Shane, can you pull up the graphic from Friday's show? Because I'm not going to throw myself under the bus. Without-
Are we
without
throwing
taking-
our producers under
I'm
the bus
throwing
here?
Shane under the bus if he'll put this up.
Pull it
He-
up, Shane.
He obviously can't find this graphic now.
Oh, it's magically
Which is
gone.
fine. I'll tell you what. When he was typing in the jerseys, he typed in orange PHX for Lindsey. So Shane is to blame for this. This whole thing is Shane's fault.
Let's
And
see.
that's why I only got
We
12% of the vote.
I gotta see this first.
That's a hell of a
It
conspiracy
says
theory.
PHX orange.
And PHX black
So,
for
Ah,
yours.
so
So
Yep, Shane
we just
screwed it
needed
all up.
some more
But
like
I mean,
it was
regardless.
hard to
okay.
put it all in there
Yes.
in that small little
sure.
Photoshop
But at the
file.
same time, okay, let's say we give Lindsey the other black jersey and I keep the one that Drake wore on stage, the Devin Booker one.
Mhm.
I still would have won.
no,
I
It
don't
wouldn't have
know.
mattered.
I
It would
don't
have been a
no,
little
because
closer.
that
but I
vote was
still would've
very
won.
close for a while.
I
actually,
won by 14%.
I'm going to say this is invalidated. We throw it out. It does not go to the records. How do you
Espo,
feel,
Yes,
Lindsey?
I
Espo
think so. I
is
think
always
that's
cowering
fair.
down to Lindsey,
No.
and I will not stand for that.
No.
Absolutely not.
Hold on. What? Do you not realize why I want this expunged from the record that we no longer?
Oh,
Because
I
I
got
know.
12% of the
I know,
vote.
but you're going to use Lindsey as a cloak, and I'm not going to live it.
It has not. I am simply trying to protect my own reputation because I believe I said if I did not win this, I was going to quit, and I finished in dead last. So we will be wiping this clean of the record.
We
all
will
right?
not. We will
Okay,
not.
how about
I am 1-0 in votes.
how about we do a re-vote?
A
No
recount.
offense, but mine is Gerald and Espo's pick, and it's just you and I
Just you
going
and
head to head.
I think that's crap.
I mean,
you now just
No,
want to
it's
want to
like-
silence Gerald and I.
I'm
Let's see how it is.
sorry.
It's like they're the Green Party. I need them to take your votes away.
Oh, not the Green
Okay,
Party.
I get it. That's not the only
Or
way
the
you
Purple
win,
Party.
then, huh?
Oh, I mean the Orange Party. My bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Basically,
So-
if you threw orange in your whole repertoire, you were already at a disadvantage.
The
So
modern
that's the
orange
reason
is-
why.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the reason why I kind of agree with Lindsey. But at the same time, my shit was
And
so
that was a
legit, it didn't
terrible orange
matter.
Those
and
are
I was gonna
arguably the
smash.
worst jerseys in Suns history
Exactly.
that you had
Those
on
were the
yours.
worst ones.
Blame your fucking producer. He's the one that
Shane.
screwed it all up.
I felt bad for about 20 minutes, and then I went, I know I read PHX orange
Yep.
somewhere on there. So I had to go back. I spent way too much of my weekend concerned about which jersey wound up on that stupid graphic. And I now feel like we have to revote just because I dedicated so much time to it. So we will put the vote back up tonight, Saul and Lindsey,
Oh my
head
God.
to head,
Head-to-head.
just because I don't like the fact that Saul won by so much, and we'll forget I finished dead last when we have this run up.
Yeah,
So.
I'm not going to validate this at all. I won fair and square.
False.
Sorry there was an
How-
error.
How is that fair
Sorry
and
there was an error, but
square?
I'm not the one that did the error. The two people that were involved in this error, well, mainly this guy,
I was like, don't
he just
point
wants
to
it expunged so
me.
that
I
way
was not
it's not
involved.
his record. No, I'm not doing it. No.
The man
I
behind
won.
the Mac takes
We
no
will have
shrapnel.
we will have other snake drafts where you guys can prove yourselves. But right now,
Chicken.
I am at the top
Yeah.
of the heap.
Yep. We see
Chicken.
how it is. Yeah.
You will not get anywhere with calling me names, Lindsey.
Saul's gonna text me a minute after we launch it and go, "Hey, stop the count. I'm up by 60%.
Yep.
End this thing now." So
Yeah,
we
I'm
will
just gonna
rerun that
screenshot it and say I
tonight.
won.
I see. We see how it
100%
is.
of the vote I won.
See, that's why I had to bring this up. I knew there would be at least some good
There was-
discussion.
Definitely.
Interesting topic that came up late last week. Greg Popovich out as the head coach of Team USA, which didn't come as a surprise. I had thought Pop was only going one round with this, so it's not as if they said sayonara to Greg Popovich. But I find it interesting that Monty Williams' name has come up. Now Grant Hill will be running USA Basketball. It will be his choice as to who will run this. But Monty Williams was a name that emerged towards the top of the list. Do you guys want to see Monty Williams coaching Team USA?
Absolutely. I think that'd be really cool. And you look at what, like, Grant Hill laid out his list of things that he wants to see from the next head coach, and it like describes Monty to a T. It's like good locker room guy, can give tough love, but players relate to him, and someone who studies the international game. And Monty's been an assistant for a long time with Team USA, and that would be really cool for boosting his profile, the profile of the Suns. I would love that if he was able to do that.
Did Grant want folksy quotes too? Was that part of the requirement?
I think it just comes with the territory,
Okay.
but I'm sure it has to tie in.
No, I think it would be a great move. You can't go wrong with Monty. You know, he's widely regarded by a lot of the U.S. Olympic players and former U.S. Olympic players as being one of the best coaches out there. And you know, and he's learned and he's grown over time, and he's proven that with his time with the Suns. And I think players respect him and love him. Players around the NBA respect him and love him, and that's one of the main reasons why Phoenix is now a destination rather than a deterrent. And I think they want to take that and put it to USA Basketball as well. So I think he'd be a perfect candidate for that position.
I agree, but I will say he does have a lot of stiff competition because the list that they put out of potential candidates, I mean, there's a lot of really great coaches on that list. And I feel like, what is it, like 10?
It's
10 or so different options there, and they're trying to have it narrowed down before the start of this season.
The only other one that I see as competition might be Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
In my estimation, just because Steve Kerr, again, he knows how to deal with superstars. He knows how to get the best out of players. Because in the NBA, it's not only about execution, but it's also a mental game.
That's true.
And when you got dudes like Draymond Green on your squad, like you're probably pretty thick-skinned and you understand how to manipulate, well, not manipulate, but, you know, work around some of those obstacles that people might have mentally.
Well, and you have to be able to get so many athletes who have never played together, who are all the guy on their team, to accept roles within that space, which is not an easy thing to do all the time. It could be a little difficult.
I wonder with Steve Kerr, you know, he has, you know, a lot of physical stuff that it's become taxing at times for him to go through a full even NBA season where he's had to take time off because of his back issues.
Right.
You got to wonder if that would make him maybe not want to have this extra responsibility. Monty and the idea of him and Devin Booker and our friend so says Jay in the chat brought this up as well. But the fact that both of them could recruit, it's like a second legal tampering period for the NBA, where we all know deals get done with that Team USA group there, and you got to wonder how much of an advantage that could be for the Suns too. If you have your number one star and your head coach on Team USA and leading that group, if you could wind up recruiting some additional star power, not just on Team USA, but internationally as well, as you go along, which any advantage you can get is a good one. You know, that'd be interesting to me.
Absolutely, because Book is going to be a fixture on Team USA for the foreseeable future. Like, we've been waiting for this moment. It's finally here. He had the Summer Olympics. Now you're kind of going to see like the older stars transition out a little bit, and Booker's going to become one of the main faces of Team USA basketball. So you put Monty on top of that is a nice little taste of like what life would be like for some of these guys if they came to Phoenix, and what it would be like to play alongside Book, which is a huge advantage, even if there is no actual recruiting going on behind closed doors.
Wink, wink.
Which there totally is.
No recruiting going on whatsoever. Yeah, I love the idea. To your point, I think he's the perfect temperament. It sounds like the kind of guy that Grant Hill's looking for, the kind of guy that Grant Hill has worked well with in the past. I don't see a downside to having Monty Williams do that. It's not like a player where you're like, well, I don't want the extra mile. A coach is going to coach. I mean, I don't see any downside to having Monty there as a USA head coach.
It's extra work for him, I think, but other than that, and I do think there are some candidates that will, I mean, because there's Doc Rivers, there's Nate McMillan, who has the Hawks ties to Grant Hill. Eric Spoelstra, another great coach, and then Tom Thibodeau's been with Team USA for a while. So
I just can't see guys wanting to play for Tom Thibodeau in the
not
Olympics.
playing 40 minutes a night in the Olympics.
Yeah, I can't see teams wanting to send their guys there too. He's gonna have a 7-man rotation and just burn these guys out, especially if they play in the East against him. So
they're doing 2 days for the FIBA World Cup.
Yeah,
not great.
I don't see it. You know, a lot of those names are guys that have had plenty of opportunities in different areas. Monty feels like the guy that probably is on that list that deserves that chance to have that spotlight. So.
Okay, so 2 things real quick. I'm gonna address a comment in the chats. Sunderous Dunks. It was NBC Sports that put out that list of potential candidates. You can find that article there. And then Rag MMA said he wants Monty all in on Suns basketball, to hell with the rest of the world. You guys kind of talked about it already, but like, do you think there's any downfall as far as Monty's attention to the Suns being split with this potential job?
I'm a firm believer in spread the love. Like if you got a gift and you have the ability to spread that gift to other people, like you do it. You just do it. And Monty wants to share his vision and his philosophies with as many people as possible. And I don't think that's bad for basketball. So no, I don't think he should just be singular focused on one team. If he can help multiple teams, including USA Basketball, do it. It's just like, like Michael Jordan, or, it's like you don't want to stop Picasso from painting a beautiful painting just because he's not in a specific place. Like, let him spread the love. Let him teach everybody. Bob Ross. I'm a big art guy. Can you tell?
I thought that Saul's like going all positive. In my head, I'm going, you can get competitive advantage because you're going to be working with the best players in the NBA, and you're going to learn what their exact flaws are.
I'm just like make brush happy strokes and make more trees. Like I
And
got
I'm
the
like,
afro today,
burn
so
the
I
forest
feel
down.
I'm vibing the Bob Ross vibe today. So
Burn the forest down. Learn all their flaws so you can take them down later in the playoffs.
Okay,
That's
I
full
feel like,
Khaleesi moment over
as
here.
usual, I'm in the middle of the two of you because I do understand your perspective, Espo. Like, you do get a lot of insight on other players. You do get to build relationships, in air quotes, with potential players to come to your franchise. And then Saul, like you said, Monty is a great example of what a head coach should be now and moving forward, like your article with Ted Lasso, right? A loving personality who cares about his players as people. That's never going to hurt anybody by showing that that is a positive way and a winning way that you can coach a team.
Here's a nerdy reference for you, Gerald, that I hope you'll.
Very
Batman put together the Justice League in part so he could understand the exact flaws of the metahumans that were around him. And that's what I want Monty to do.
Yes.
Go there and find out all the flaws so you can then help the Suns better. You can recruit, but you can also learn the way to pull apart each of these great athletes that you'll be coaching. So I don't think there's a downfall either way. He does get to do what he loves. He gets to find, gets to recruit and gets to find some flaws. I think it's a win-win-win. I don't, and you can protect Devin Booker's minutes too.
Yes,
that's
True.
another thing you can do. You can manage your own guy without running him into the ground.
And a little bit more popularity too, right? There's oftentimes people will watch the Olympics who maybe don't tune in on a regular basis to all the sports.
Yeah.
Maybe you can pull in some more fans with that as well. Put a Phoenix even more on the map, potentially.
I mean, Monty's a great ambassador for the game of basketball, not only in the NBA, but obviously worldwide. And so spread it.
I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah, that was an easy one. There was no tension at all.
Well, go represent your country isn't exactly should we trade or cut this guy. It's a little different. It doesn't surprise me. You know what also doesn't surprise me? Winning money on DraftKings. Yeah, we went there. DraftKings, America's #1 sports book app, has a great offer for you. Put $1 down on any football game. You're going to get $150 instantly.
And how did you do in that cricket game?
Oh, I won the Knight Riders bet that we placed.
Nice.
I don't know. They won by 9 wickets. I don't know what the hell that is, but I won.
I think.
I bet $5. I won $10.50. So $10.50.
Oh.
Not big money.
Okay, but I did the no-brainer bet you were telling us about last week, and I won $50.
Yeah,
It was
it's
so
no-brainer.
easy.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was just like, okay.
I did one of the live in-game bets, which I hadn't done before. I was looking at Tennessee was trailing the Seattle by like 16 points. I was like, what the heck? It's like plus 350 or something odds here. I'm going to take it.
Sure.
And they came back and won, and I won like $200 out of the deal. So, it's fun. And they're giving away free money is what it amounts to by just betting that $1 and then taking advantage of the no-brainer bets that they have as well. So use that code PHNX when you sign up for that or for the app, and use that to get your free $150 there. Highly recommend it because, as you can tell, we enjoy it here. We have fun with it, and you can bet on table tennis and cricket. All right, You can bet on things you didn't know were going. I bet on a La Liga soccer game the other day. I sound like
I have a futures bet going for DeAndre Ayton, so
yeah,
I'm ready.
I mean, it's
Nice.
fun. 21 and over, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details.
So I'm gonna need some help with like what to do with this free money that I got. Like where to bet it, you know what I mean, or who to bet on, and like all of that information. No, I want to continue to I want to keep it in my app and like keep going, see if I can make some more. And thankfully, we have a bet show, and we are about to also post a whole bunch of like betting 101 things on our website at gophnx.com. And I'm gonna be over there like learning and studying all this content to help me with DraftKings and all of my bets. And if you guys want to obviously learn more about betting, since it's fairly new here in Arizona, you can do the same thing. Go phnx.com, watch our PHNX bet show on our YouTube channel.
Every day at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, so it's lots of good information there. And, some people who actually know what they're doing can tell you what maybe you should try doing. I don't know. I think it's a good option. But
and if you want to spend some of that money.
It's true. If you want to spend some of that money, PHNXlocker.com has all of our merchandise.
Man.
And if you sign up for a membership, you can just get one of those shirts for free if you choose that option, which is pretty cool. So go PHNX.com to become a member. Our YouTube page, PHNX Sports, subscribe, like, review, all the things. And then, of course, follow us on social media at PHNX_sports.
Yeah, and the Cardinals, the Rise Up Red Sea shirt that dropped
Very cool.
Yeah.
over the weekend.
Very hot.
One of my favorite that
So
we
hot right
still
now.
we still have
He's so hot.
Hansel.
Not Hansel.
we have yet to get the good sun stuff. Don't worry, it's coming.
It's coming.
I promise you, it's
we have
coming.
some fire stuff coming for sure.
But I feel like the Coyotes, the Coyotes beat, the Cardinals beat, got some really cool merch.
Mhm.
We got to catch up.
Yep.
We got to
We'll
catch
get
up. We will though.
Yeah.
All right. We promise you.
Speaking of cool
Yeah.
stuff,
Cool. This is true.
we do have
Should-
something pretty
Should we
cool.
announce? Should we
We
announce?
should
this?
probably announce this right
Should
now.
we?
yeah.
We should drop it.
We got a pretty cool segment
We do.
that we're going to have every single week.
We will bring him in once a week, and it's a segment that it's kind of like welcoming your uncle from the East Coast and to hang out with you and talk a little bit with you, and it's called the Flex Appeal.
Yeah.
And let's hit it with the graphic. Our boy Flex from Jersey is joining the PHNX family and is going to stop by and give us all the dirt, the dish, the inside scoop, whatever you want to call it, however you want to say it. Our man from Jersey, who I've known for a very long time, is going to be joining us each and every week. And let's bring him in here on the program. Flex, my man, how are you?
What's up? What's up, whole crew? What's up, everybody? Pleasure, man. It's been fun watching y'all. This has been a blast.
All right, for the people who are new to Flex, the man's name's Felix, but due to an error back in the day on the Suns postgame show, he's known as Flex, and he's embraced that. And the man knows people on the inside. I'm just gonna say, he's got those sources that can break down a little of everything that you need to know. And Flex, I want to start here. Gerald wrote a fantastic breakdown of the possibility of bringing Thad Young to the Valley. What's the latest that you're hearing in terms of Thad Young and the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah, that was a great article by Gerald. Yeah, man. Listen. This has been in the works for about 6 weeks. I know mainstream got it maybe a couple weeks ago, but I was notified of this on like August 6th, and it's always been the Suns and Spurs. It's just been the Spurs trying to maximize the asset. So if it makes sense, they're reaching out because they want a first round pick, and rightfully so. They want to try to get a first round pick for Thaddeus Young, but they're not going to get it from Phoenix. And so they're combing the league, trying to see if there's a third team that would be willing to jump in, maybe make the deal a little bit bigger, which is what's holding things up, with the hope that they'll eventually find someone that can get involved in this and give them the first round pick they want. But it's always kind of been the Suns and the Spurs, per my sources and contacts, and that's been for about 6 weeks, and nothing has changed. I anticipate Thaddeus Young playing for the Phoenix Suns this year. It's just a matter of it's not if, it's when. And if it doesn't happen, it would be because a mystery team came out of completely nowhere and just blew the Spurs' socks off, which I don't see, because you got to match $14 million in salary, and you got to satisfy a first-round pick. There's just not too many teams that are willing to do that for a 33-year-old that's making $14 million on an expiring deal.
Flex, you've been around for a little while. You know the Valley. You were out here for the finals, doing some work with 98.7. If you guys don't know, Flex is usually the very first guy to show up on John Bloom's post game to kind of break down what happened in that game for the Suns. Tell us about what's going on with you right now, and also fill in everybody as to why you're here and why you wanted to jump on the show with us and do this with PHNX.
Yeah, man. So I'm blessed to be in the works right now. We're in the process of talking about expanding my role on that 98.7 post game show with John Bloom. And so we're just kind of waiting that thing out. But most importantly, man, you guys are my guys. I mean, I love Lindsey, I love Gerald, but I've known you two guys for a minute now. You know what I mean? So you guys, we talked, and at the end of the day, I believe in what you guys are doing. I believe in everyone involved, and I thought it'd be really cool to jump on once a week and give y'all inside information, things I'm hearing behind the scenes, what I can give, which the irony of it is there's something I'm dealing with mentally right now, which I got about 2 hours ago, that I can't share. Unfortunately, I can't share. But hopefully I'll get to the point where I can, and you guys will be the first ones to get it.
Yo, if
but,
you tell
right
me Kyrie
now,
Irving just got traded to the Suns for Chris Paul, man. Ooh.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. No.
All right, Flex. We're gonna play a game. We're all gonna guess what you know, and if you don't say anything, we're gonna take that as a yes.
Oh man, that's cool. You trying to get me in trouble, man.
Okay, can you tell us if it was Sun specific related?
Yes.
That's in the chat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So something Sun specific.
It's Sun specific. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Here's the thing. It's Sun specific. I just found out about it. Unfortunately, I can't talk about it. I can't get into it. And the funny thing is, Lindsey, is the last time I did a show with these two guys, with Saul and Espo, the same thing happened. If y'all remember that.
Yeah.
The same thing happened, and I had to kind of, we waited a little bit, and then it came out, and you guys knew what happened. But yeah, it's the same scenario. It's one of those things where I just can't speak on it. Hopefully in about a week, this will come out. It's not any. Listen, I don't want to put anybody at. I don't want anybody thinking we're getting Damian Lillard. It's not a trade. Okay. But I also don't want people thinking that it's like the end of the world. It's not an ideal situation going into camp. That's what I'll say. And we'll leave it at that. But it's not a big deal. It's not that serious. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be a bleep on the radar, and we'll just move on. But yeah, it's something I just can't get too much into right now.
The gorilla has broken his foot. Everybody,
there you go. You got it, brother. You got it. How'd you, man, Espo, bro? What's the numbers for tonight? What's the lotto numbers for tonight, man?
Look, I'm in the know. That's all I'm gonna say. So.
Well, Flex, obviously we've got unrelated question. We've got contract extensions for Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton. Those talks going on. Have you heard anything on either one of those fronts that you can speak about?
Yeah, I actually did. I was on the phone late last night with someone close to the situation in regards to Mikal. And Listen, you said something the other day, which had me laughing. You tweeted, you said anybody that thinks people getting Mikel for 80 million they're off the rocker right now, and you're right. That's not going to happen anymore. I did hear that discussions are ongoing between them. They've been ongoing. I was told about 3 weeks ago that they were getting pretty advanced. So things are moving on with Mikel. I think both sides are extremely motivated to get the deal done sooner rather than later. And I will say that if I had to put, if I had to guess, I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere around the 95 million range for
Okay.
Mikel Bridges, and I believe that it will get done before opening night. That's what I'm hearing.
Have you heard anything on DA?
Yes, I have on DA, but if I'm being truly transparent, the conversations with DA are a little bit more complicated than Mikel, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
There's just some hangups with, bonuses and 25% versus 30%, and it's a little bit more complicated, and it's weird because going in there was a perception that was the easy deal, right? That's the max one. Get that out the way. There's not much negotiating going on there. But contrary, it's the exact opposite. Mikel seems to be pretty straightforward. I think he wants to get it done. I don't think he wants to risk trying to play on a restricted free agency year and blowing the bag. I don't think the Suns want to risk, trying to save a couple million here or there and then having a Joe Johnson type situation where you got to pay 20 more million instead of paying the 5 that you should pay right now. And so I think they're more motivated, but DA is a little bit more complicated as far as bonuses and stuff. I do think both deals will get done, though. I'm not worried about either player contract not getting worked out. I just think Mikel's might get done sooner.
When you say,
at least that's what I'm hearing.
When you say get done, you mean prior to that first game of the season, which is the deadline,
yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes, October 18th is the deadline. And again, what I'm hearing is both sides are motivated to get that done before the deadline for Mikel. I have not heard that for DA, but the conversations I'm having sound as if it's going to get all worked out, guys. DeAndre is going to be a Phoenix Sun. The Phoenix Suns love DeAndre, and they just have to do what they're doing. That's why you hire an agent. That's why you have a GM. They're going to go back and forth. They're going to negotiate. It's an open negotiation. It's a fair negotiation, and everybody is negotiating with good faith right now. So there's no animosity. There's nothing to report like that. It's just a matter of, this is how the business is. This is how it goes in this business.
Well, that's good. When we talked about Mikel Bridges, somewhere probably in the $90 to $100 million range, and we knew that with the incentives and the bonuses for DA's contract, that would probably take a little bit of time to work that out. But so that's good to hear. They're still negotiating in good faith.
Yes.
Just to follow up, have you heard much when you're talking with people in terms of the franchise's willingness to go into that luxury caps, that luxury tax area? Because obviously that's going to be one of the biggest puzzle pieces with all this moving forward is how much are you willing to live in that tax area? Have you heard much about the franchise's willingness to delve into that?
Yeah, I have. And everything I've heard has been positive. Everything I heard is this team, this franchise ownership. As you guys know, there's not just one owner. Everyone thinks Robert owns the whole team. It doesn't work that way. There's a whole bunch of people at the table. And I've been told nothing to believe that the entire group is not all in on this basketball team. So I believe they're going to do everything they can to not only keep this team intact, but also stay into the luxury tax. And you guys know the rules, right? I mean, you got repeater tax, you got a whole bunch of different things and different variables that come with that. So did people believe that the Golden State Warriors, when they were, the laughingstock of the NBA, were going through the same thing the Suns were going? Did people think that they'd be willing to go into the tax the way they have? Well, winning does that. So if the Phoenix Suns continue to make it to the NBA Finals and compete for Western Conference championships, people are going to go to the table and say, "Hey, what do you want? We're not going to get greedy here." But again, I think it's, as of right now, yes, the answer is yes. Can we forecast 2-3 years out? I don't know, but I got no inclination that they're not trying to keep this team and have sustained success. And that even trickles down to Cam Johnson. They love Cam Johnson. They look at him as a core guy. And I don't think that they're trying to put themselves in any situation in which they're going to pay Devin, DeAndre, Mikal, and maybe overlook what Cam can do. I think those are the 4 guys they're focused on right now, and I got no reason to believe that that they're not willing to pay for it.
Hey, Flex. First of all, if you don't know Flex, you should get to know him because he's always dropping some nuggets. Most of the time, he's before Shams and Woj. There's been things that he shared with me, behind the scenes, and he just has a wealth of information at his disposal that I think he should definitely take advantage of. And he's going to be showing up on our show once a week. We've slotted him for Wednesdays, but hey, if there's breaking news, we will slot him somewhere else and bring him in as fast as we possibly can. Brother, I appreciate you joining us for sure.
Hey,
Well, I
my
mean,
pleasure. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
To your point, Saul, Flex, can you give us like the backstory? How did you get involved with all of this, and kind of how did this become your thing? Because this isn't an easy thing to just become an insider.
No, and also from the East Coast, covering a West Coast team.
Exactly. How'd you get into this?
All right, so I played basketball out in the East Coast, and it actually, the origin of it starts back in like 1996. I played with the McDonald's All-American MVP, Shaheem Holloway, and he played with Kobe at the McDonald's game, and it's the weirdest thing is you start to build these relationships that were forged 30 years ago, and you meet one person that knows another person that knows another person, and then guess what? Kyrie comes to my high school, and Al Harrington goes to my high school, and we have relationships with the coaches. And then it just becomes this network that has grown into what it is now. And as far as the Suns are concerned, it was kind of similar. It was kind of organic. It was, let me go out there and do some things. And then, oh, man, I know this guy, and this guy knows this guy. And then they start talking. And before you know it, you're building relationships with these players. You're building relationships with their families. You're building relationships with their inner circles. But it's a very fickle thing, Lindsey. I mean, it's, sometimes you'll get information and it's like, I tell these guys all the time, it's very difficult to manage it because a lot of the times the information you're getting is pretty close information that they don't want to share at the moment. You know what I mean? So they have to trust that you're willing to be that guy that they can confide in, is not going to go ahead and say, let me put that on Twitter just to get the credit. So over the years, it's been a work in progress, but I think over the years, people have seen that, that I'm trustworthy, and I only release things when I talk to them and I get clearance and I double check it 2-3 times. But I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Espo has helped. I mean, all you guys, without even knowing, in some way, shape, or form, helped this process. It really is. Like when Gerald retweets something that I say, I mean, that helps. You know what I mean? And it just, Lindsey, you're an Emmy Award winner, right? Can I look in your eyes?
My guy.
No, I'm keeping it real. I'm from the East Coast, so it all reciprocates. It all comes together the way it does, and that's why I want to get involved with you guys, because I believe in what you guys all bring to the table, and I'm hoping that what I bring to the table can bring something to the network, and everyone can have fun later on down the road. Have some fun success together.
Hey, Flex knows on the East Coast, snitches get stitches, and he would never.
Yes, sir.
So, hey, you can trust what he has to say to the bank for sure.
Absolutely. You can follow him on Twitter at Flex from Jersey. Highly, highly recommend it. You can hear him here on the Flex Appeal every week, as Saul said, usually on Wednesdays, except when Espo decides to cancel the Wednesday show because he has an appointment. So, Flex, we appreciate you. We look forward to having you part of this journey and part of the PHNX family.
Yes, I appreciate it, man. I'm thrilled. Love you guys. I'll be watching. I'm always glued, and I can't wait for next week. Let me know when y'all ready. I'm here.
One of these days, you're gonna have to come out to Arizona and visit our studio.
Yeah. He's coming.
I'm waiting. Yeah, I think opening night is going to be that week. Opening night that week. I think I'll be out there doing some stuff. So yeah, it'd be great. Kick it in the studio. Y'all got some space in there for me, though? I look like y'all.
Oh yeah, Gerald will be gone, so we got you. We got you.
No. So I think I'm
probably B that we can do too. Yeah, we got people multiple places.
I think I could squeeze in right between Gerald and Sada. I think we can work something.
There's not that much space there.
You guys can get a little cozy.
Well, he is Flex from Jersey. Make sure to follow him on Twitter and look for him here every week on the PHNX Suns podcast. Flex, we appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon, brother.
Appreciate my peoples.
All right, one of the names that Flex mentioned, and inadvertently, he didn't know this was a topic that was coming up, but he said Kyrie went to his high school. I don't know if you saw that. Well, last week there were rumors that the I want to say New Jersey Nets. They're not the New Jersey Nets.
Brooklyn?
The Brooklyn Nets might want to move on from Kyrie, and somebody, I won't rat out who, in the
It was me.
in the
It was absolutely
Saul.
me.
so Saul in the chat went, well, would you trade CP3 for Kyrie Irving? And we thought, well, instead of talking about it in here where nobody benefits from it, how about we talk about it on the show? So Saul, the stage is yours. CP3, Kyrie, what did you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, I just thought, hey, if in the magical dream scenario that the Brooklyn Nets were like straight up, and I have not vetted this with Gerald in terms of salary cap or anything like that. And it's not a rumor. It's not a rumor that CP3 and Kyrie might be swapped for one another. I'm just saying, like, this is the kind of games we play. Remember when you were in high school or elementary school, you're like, would you fight Mike Tyson for $1 million? Like, yeah, I get knocked out by Mike Tyson for $1 million because it wouldn't be a fight. It's kind of the same scenario. So I just wanted to throw it out there. If that should come up and the Brooklyn Nets were like, hey, we would 1-for-1 swap, would you do it? And I say yes. I love CP3. I love what he brings to the table, but you would be upgrading to a younger point guard that's a little bit more dynamic scoring wise. And yes, he's a head case, but man, that upside is so high. So yeah,
He'd be on his fourth team in how many years? Like, there's a reason that people move off him. The Brooklyn Nets aren't going, hey, we really want to get rid of Kyrie Irving because it's going to automatically, make us a better team, just basketball wise. They're doing it because there's obviously extra issues that are going with it. I didn't want to trade the fourth pick in the NBA draft that turned into Josh freaking Jackson for Kyrie. I sure as hell am not trading CP3 that just got me to the finals for Kyrie.
Time out. Let's go. You can't just throw that in there and then be like, oh, it's no big deal. You didn't want to trade the fourth pick for Kyrie Irving?
Because he was on
This was before you realized it was
At the
what
time,
was
I did
happening,
not
right?
either.
At the
Were
time.
you in a smoke box?
Well, not legally back then. I'm
Oh
not
my
implicating
God.
myself in
Oh
anything.
my goodness.
But Josh Jackson had not hotboxed, didn't hotbox me or anything. But look, okay, at the time, Kyrie was on an expiring deal. There was no guarantee you were going to keep him, and you had the fourth pick in a draft that seemed pretty deep, and you didn't think that Josh Jackson was going to be a total
The
flame
dumpster
out.
fire that he
all right,
ended up being.
the assumption was
Nice.
the assumption was that you were going to get a guy that was going to be a part of the future for the long term, right?
Right.
So that's why at the time I said it. Now in hindsight, yes, you would trade that fourth pick 10 out of 10 times if it was going to turn out the way it did. But look, CP3, it means too much to this locker room, to this culture, and to Devin Booker. I would not be dealing him for Kyrie Irving. I don't need any flat earther, crazy, burning sage stuff going on in my locker room after I had the best locker room in basketball last year. All right?
I mean, I'll take him for the content, but not at the expense of Chris Paul.
But Kyrie's hot is just as good as anybody else's hot.
I think Saul just thinks we're gonna get like free shoes if Kyrie.
I mean, I just
I
think
do
yes,
rep
I
Kyrie's
agree,
a
but
lot.
I do think that because this team is still younger,
Sure.
you need the floor general like Chris Paul to make sure everyone's where they need to be, doing what they need to be doing, and is that legitimate extension of Monty. I don't know that Kyrie is like a floor coach.
No,
as much.
no.
And I think this team really benefits from having that.
Absolutely. Like, again, like I'm thinking like game 6 of the NBA finals when, he's proven to be able to carry a team to a championship. He carried LeBron's ass all the way to Cleveland and won a championship with him.
Oh, that's a controversial statement.
It's not controversial at all. He
It's a
carried that Cleveland team
controversial
offensively
statement.
down the stretch of game 7, and I will take that all day.
Well, he's
No, Shane, turn it
There
off.
we go.
He's won so many titles
Shane,
with
get
Boston.
Oh, yes.
And with Brooklyn right now.
I will say that Kyrie is a
He was hurt with
tremendous
Brooklyn.
scorer. He was a tremendous scorer in that series. Saying that he carried LeBron to a championship, I'm not going to go there.
Bruh.
He did not carry LeBron to a championship. Ray Allen carried LeBron to a championship with one shot. That's not the same. Anyway, we're not getting into this. The point is, Kyrie is a great player. I'll say what I said years ago when the topic first came up about trading the number 4 pick for Kyrie, and people were talking about it. Kyrie is a tremendous scorer. The defense would take a hit. The playmaking would take a hit, especially compared to a guy like Chris Paul. And as we've talked about, like the leadership, being a floor general, the kinds of things that this young team needed last year. Maybe they won't need it as much next year, but they still need it to a certain degree. And I think it is a bad sign that if a super team with James Harden and Kevin Durant is considering breaking up this super team, that's not a great sign for Kyrie's value or what he does.
It's because you only have so many basketballs, and if you have Kevin Durant and James Harden, it's really hard to fit Kyrie into that 3-man mix and have them. They're all ball dominant. So I can see why Brooklyn would be like, let's get rid of one option, because let's just say this. If Brooklyn has a healthy James Harden and the way KD was playing, the Bucks aren't beating them. They aren't beating them, but Harden was on one leg and they almost beat the Bucks.
Mm-hmm. If KD wore a half size smaller shoe, they would have beaten the Bucks.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was that. It was that.
So I could see why they're like, we don't really need to carry this. Let's go ahead and get rid of Kyrie if there's any suitors out there. But yes, Kyrie as a head case, I would stay away from 1,000,000%. I just want to hear what everybody had to say.
And that's fair. It's one of the, and I kind of feel for Kyrie because I feel like he does bring some of it on himself as far as his reputation and some of the things that he says, but he also has made cogent points about the way that this league is covered, and he's gotten slandered for it a lot of the times. It's unfair to him and his trade value.
And some of the things he says are accurate.
Right.
And but then people don't want to hear it.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then some of the shit he says that the earth is flat and stuff like
that.
Yeah,
I think some of it's an act. Like I think he has a weird sense of humor. Some of the things that he says that come off as controversial really aren't.
But then he gets mad when people react to it.
Well, but
like he's like, I made a joke and you didn't think it was funny. Like, what's wrong with you?
And it's hard when you have the kind of mindset that Kyrie has, and he does so many things that are on a much bigger scale, like worldwide. He does a lot for the worldwide as a community in general. Like he does a lot of philanthropic stuff. Yeah. Like he's a good dude. Mm-hmm. Like he really is. Yeah. Like he's just hard to figure out because he's not ball is life. He's not. No. But he's so good that people can't understand why he's not all about ball all the time.
I think we've seen how important the locker room is in Phoenix and how important the elusive chemistry word is, and I don't feel it. Now, that's coming off a finals run. You come to me in year 2 or year 3 of that CP3 extension, I might feel different. There's a definite chance of that. But where we're sitting at this moment, it just wouldn't make fundamental sense to me to make that kind of.
What would you have done if Flex would have been like, actually?
Do you remember when Flex came on and was like, this is likely going to happen with CP3, and I had been on the record as saying, wouldn't trade for CP3 if my life depended on it. Yeah. And then I realized Devin Booker wanted him, and I said, I would do whatever Devin Booker wants.
I mean,
that tune changed real quick.
Hey, you got to know when to hold your hands up and go Kenny Rogers. I'm folding them. All right.
Yeah.
You got to know. So that's.
I have to go find that clip.
Oh, because that's the clip we need on this show.
Okay, no. Can we go back just 1 second?
Sure. Yes.
I want to revisit your not ball is life comment. Do you expect players on your favorite team to all be all the time ball is life?
No. But I think a lot of the public does.
Yeah, a lot of fans do.
I think a lot of fans feel like, well, I mean, just look at the comment that we had earlier about Monty. Like, I want him focused only on the Suns and nothing else, right? And that's no disrespect to my man, but like, players have other things that are going on in their life, and this is their occupation, and they train and they practice and they do all these things to get ready for their occupation. But at the end of the day, they still have other things that they're interested in, just like we all do.
Yeah, and I think that helps a lot with like the mental load. If you don't have anything that is not just basketball, you never get a break. You never get that reset. You know, and I think those things are really important.
And not everybody wants their guy to be like Kobe, or Michael Jordan or something like that, where Kobe's waking up at 4:00 in the morning. He goes
Right.
train, comes back home, takes 2 hours off, goes back, trains again, comes back home, gets a couple of hours off.
Michael
like,
Jordan
all
had
day long.
hobbies, though.
Yeah,
Like,
let's not put
oh.
Michael Jordan in that category.
Michael Jordan is the
was
greatest
out
player of all
drinking,
time.
smoking cigars, playing golf, and
he's-
gambling.
And he
And
was
he
so
still
damn
walked that
good.
ass.
He
Michael
still whooped
Jordan
that
took
ass.
naps.
He wasn't ball is life.
But
He
but,
was ball is
but
a
Jordan-
path to having more life.
but Jordan was as competitive individual
true.
as you could ever come
Totally.
across. And
Totally.
that's the separator sometimes between, like, you look at a DA, like, people, that's the one criticism of DA is that he doesn't seem like he's competitive enough, or that he's really intense, and people want him to slam the ball every single time down the court and break somebody's arm off in the rim. It's like, dude, not everybody's built the same.
Mhm.
So when it comes to, like, Kyrie, like, I think people are like, they confuse being aloof with his competitiveness, and it's two totally different things.
I don't know. You guys know I'm very much about work-life balance. I take very seriously being home for my daughter, those kind of things. And I get it. You need that in life.
Shane is
You-
laughing
you-
behind the scenes.
Shane's
I don't know
laughing.
why.
What is he
Apparently, the
laughing
thought of
at?
me liking my family is tough for Shane to
Shane-
swallow in the background.
I thought you were transitioning into a DraftKings read.
And if you love family, DraftKings. No.
That would have been so funny, though.
Oh, man, that would have been one hell of a
But
transition.
look,
Good Lord.
work-life balance is important, but
But you know what else is important?
DraftKings. No, but with Kyrie, there was these weird, I'm taking games off, I'm not going to be around. Like, I want my guy to be locked in when it comes to his job in season. Like, I don't care if you go to the Bahamas in the off season, or if you want to go with Kendall Jenner to wherever, if you're Devin Booker. Like,
Sedona.
Yeah, Sedona, yeah.
Hanging out
Well,
on a boat.
Wherever you want, a boat in Sedona, no. Wherever you want to go, I'm fine with those things. But when it comes to the season,
You wouldn't want to see
I-
Kendall Jenner on a slide rock?
what is it? No, I want to be with my wife and my daughter. All
Stumped
right,
him.
let's go back
Almost
to
got
that.
him.
Stumped him.
Almost
And-
got him.
And if you want to be with
I don't know if,
That's so
if Kendall
bad.
Jenner could handle Slide Rock. That just doesn't seem like. I just cannot. Come on. I get it. I walked into it, but you know what I meant. Okay.
Kendall Jenner didn't let us
You
slide
know
rock.
what I meant.
Slide rock.
Oh,
Land it on Kendall Jenner.
I don't know. Just-
and if you want to take
Yeah.
Kendall Jenner to Slide Rock, DraftKings.
I think we should keep going with that. Let's do it. Come
Let's
on,
just-
Espo. Wrap it up, Espo. We gotta get away from this. Dear Lord.
You got to have a lot of money, is what I'm trying.
Oh my god.
No, but okay, so DraftKings. Let's just go to that because I don't even know
There's no
where I was going with
transition.
work-life balance and any of that.
$1, $150 back. Let's do it, baby.
Look. It's Mercury Monday. We're gonna talk about the Mercury, and I was looking at future bets. They're a plus 900 to win the WNBA championship. They're the 5th seed. They have a home game on Thursday. That bet looks mighty good to me if DT is healthy. Because as we talked about, that's Diana Taurasi, it's Brittany Griner, that's Skylar Diggins-Smith, that whole cast of characters over there with the Mercury. Sandra Brondello is one of the best coaches in the game. That plus 900 sitting there, and I'm going, I think I want to put some money down.
Mhm.
That looks like a good bet to me because of just the talent that is on that roster.
Mm-hmm. Locked in the number 5 seed. They're playing number 8 seed on Thursday.
Yeah.
Win or go home, right?
Yep, winner go
Yep.
home, single elimination.
Because the WNBA has the most ridiculous playoff
Well,
system
we'll
in the
get
history
into-
of basketball.
We will get into that in a second.
Oh.
But if you want to bet
Salty.
that,
Awful.
that plus,
That's the segment. Salty. There it is.
Salty.
we need
That
these
is what I'm
salty
upset about.
shirts. That's what, look, if you want to put some scratch down on that plus 900 for the Mercury, you can get some free bets out of this. You can bet $1 on any football game this week. You're going to get $150 from our friends at DraftKings when you use that code PHNX when you sign up for the app. And yeah, the great odds on the Mercury. And let's hop into that. They play their first round game Thursday, as you mentioned, a quasi home game. They will be playing at GCU because there's some Colombian singer that's going to be at the arena.
Shakira?
What was it?
No,
Malula?
not Shakira. I know who Shakira is.
I don't know.
It was like Malula or Malana?
Melundo. I should have looked it up again.
Malala?
I don't know.
It's Moana. Moana's performing.
Moana, yes.
Moana, yes. That's Hawaiian.
With
Samoan.
special guest
One of those
The
two.
Rock. You should and Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Malunda.
If you're
Okay.
if you have a daughter, you get that joke. If you've got a
Yeah.
young kid, you get Moana jokes. But so it's a quasi home name. They'll be
But-
playing.
GCU could be really fun.
It could be
Like
fun.
that arena is pretty awesome, and I feel like you put the X Factor into that arena, you basically have the Mercury version of the Lopes Up people.
Lopes,
What are
yeah.
they?
Havoc.
What is
Lopes.
the
The
Havoc?
Havocs.
Thank you, the
Oh,
their
Havoc.
fan
Yes,
base. Okay, yeah.
that place gets popping.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like that could be a super fun game to go to.
I was thinking the same thing. It may appear that it's not Matuma. It seems like the artist, the
Matuma.
chat throwing that out there. But
Oh,
Luma.
Maluma.
We have the biggest. We have like a 50-inch screen, and our chat window is about the size of a postage stamp when we're
Yeah.
trying to read that. But look, I think you're right though, Lindsey. It could be a very unique environment because the X Factor is probably one of the loudest crowds in Arizona sports. You know, you talked about the Suns crowd during that run. Mercury faithful are some of the loudest out there. So in an environment where it's limited tickets, you're right on top of the court at GCU. It could be a very big home court advantage as they take on the Liberty, the number 8 seed. But Saul, to your point earlier, this is a very bizarre playoff
It's
format.
so
It is a
ridiculous.
one game series in the first and second round.
Yes.
So it's really anybody's
So
ball
ridiculous.
game.
Like,
Crazy.
I don't understand it at all. These women bust their ass for fucking 32 games,
Mhm.
and then they got to go single elimination back to back rounds. Like this is the freaking NCAA tournament, and then they finally get to two, or if you make it to the championship, back to back rounds of best of 5.
Yeah.
Which what's the point? It's so random.
But it makes for compelling TV. I'll
Maybe
I'll tell
for
you
one
that.
round.
Maybe for
Yeah.
one
For
round.
one round.
But with a team like the Mercury, who had injuries this season and everything,
Mhm.
those one-game series actually could be to your benefit, right? Because you've got that star power to win any one game against any team.
But then why even have a 5-game series at all? Like, might as well just make them
No.
all 1-game series.
No, you could never.
Why back-to-back 5-game series? Why isn't the championship round a 7-game series, semifinals maybe 5, and then the second round a 3, and then the first one a 1? I can understand the progression.
Yeah, that makes
But
way more sense.
1-1
than
and then 5-5.
1-1-5-5.
What?
Yeah.
I don't mind.
It's like they drew
yeah,
numbers out of a hat.
I don't mind the one in the first
Did
round.
you
You're
create
right.
the rules? Is that why you're
I-
defending them?
Yes, I actually am also the WNBA president, if you were unaware. So I run that league on the side. No, I
He's
didn't
a
write
commissioner. But
commission. I'm none of the things, so it doesn't matter. I've always found one game, winner take all, the most interesting thing in sports because every decision matters at that point. Like every decision means that much more in a one game series in it. And yes, should the second round probably be 3, but with a team like the Mercury, when you've got Griner and DT and Skylar Diggins-Smith, those are 3 players that you could turn to in that last second to make a shot to win a series. Like I like it when you have a team like that. Now, if I'm a team that doesn't have that star power, yeah, I'm probably a little pissed because usually it's a longer series that those kind of teams win in. But when you're sitting there as the Mercury, I don't mind 2 one-game series to start this off because I've got the star power to pull it off.
by the way, we are still working on a Mercury player to come on. We're hoping for tomorrow. If not, then maybe we're going to push it for Friday should they win on Thursday.
Which they should, because the Liberty are like 12-20. They're a terrible 8 seed.
See,
Yeah.
that's a bigger problem.
they're-
Why is there a 12-20 team in your playoffs? That's my bigger issue.
They got hot towards the end of the season, though. The Liberty did. So
How
it's
hot
Sabrina
do you get when you
Ionescu.
only have 12 wins? Like,
There's only 32 games.
so, like you're 12-20. They got hot.
They got
Well,
They
What
were
do
on
you
a
want?
5-game
What?
win streak.
do you
and they're
want?
7
when everybody else is 7-24.
They
I
got
don't- I
hot.
don't know.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this should be a Mercury win on Thursday, and I loved working with the Mercury. I loved watching the Mercury when I get the opportunity. It's a fun brand of basketball, and highly recommend you support it. Especially, we got nothing else to watch right now. There's no other NBA
the
games
Diamondbacks.
going on.
You got nothing else to
You
watch.
got yeah. Forget that was said. Yeah, like I think it's well worth it. I'll be
is.
watching
Oh,
that
yeah.
on Thursday.
It's very good basketball.
Diana Taurasi in the playoffs anytime you can watch that. You got to do it.
Diana Taurasi, anytime you can watch her.
Also fair.
Especially because there's only so much more she's going to play. And that's,
So
you're only going to have
this
so
could
many
be the
more.
last time you get to see her.
It really could. You don't know. Because what is it?
I
this
don't
year
want to
20?
talk about that.
Yeah. You don't want a world without DT.
No, I
No
don't
one
wanna-
does.
Then she could be the owner.
Then she could come into the studio.
I mean, that's true. If she come and hanging out, then that's fine.
That would be fucking sweet.
But if she's not hanging out and she just goes and disappears,
which she probably will.
which she probably will because that's DT, I'm gonna be real sad.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to, speaking of hanging out, you want to come hang out with us, go to gophnx.com, become a member, hop in that Discord because that's where it's happening. We're going to be doing a mailbag segment where most of the questions will come from that Discord. That'll be coming up on Wednesday. So if you sign up, become a member, you can ask whatever questions you want. We're not saying we'll answer them, but you can ask whatever questions you want in the Discord. So that is it for the PHNX Suns show today. For Lindsey Smith, who you can follow at Lindsey Smith AZ, Gerald Bourguet, who you can follow at Gerald Bourguet, at Saul _Bookman. The underscore is there so the fro fits in, or the rap lyrics, whichever one you want to go with. And you follow me at Espo. The show's at PHNX _Suns, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Ahoy, hoy.